Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Deborah Eckerling, author of your Goal Guide and creator of the DEB Method for Goal Setting Simplified. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people to dive into the topic. And today we're talking about social media. So, of course, I wrangled some of my social friends because social media, it's supposed to be social and it's supposed to be fun. And I think we've got a social and fun panel. And well, I know you're going to agree with me, so let's just take that as as it is. We have with us Holly Homer, and Holly Homer and I have known each other for years, and as it happens, probably haven't seen each other in real or virtual life in like 10. So I'm really glad that Holly posted, hey, who's got a podcast for me to be on? Because Holly, you did inspire the conversation. And again, anytime I can use this show to catch up with my friends, which is like all the time, it's a good day, right? Troy Sandidge, who's been on the show together, but we were on a show on Agora Pulse together a little over a year ago talking about goals. So Troy gets it. So excited to hang out with you again. And May King saying, who it is midnight where she is in England. We thank you for staying up late, or at least staying camera ready late, because my guess is you're probably up anyway, right? But and May King's is it your show or shows also joined the Marketing Podcast Network, which Goal Chat, the podcast version, is a part of. So again, great to see you all. Excited to have you here. Please share, who you are and why you're so excited to talk about social media, and we'll go from there. Holly?
Well, yeah, so I think we've been on the internet since the dinosaurs roamed. So I think that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen each other is, like the roller coaster that is social media. Because I really started 20 years ago on a blog, and before social media existed. In fact, blogging was the social media. I would write a blog post, like, 300 people might see it, but I'd have 250 comments on it, which is not how blogging is today, I can just say. And because all that has shifted socially. And so I think that's what's so fun about social media now is you've seen the timeline and how it's changed. So I'm excited to have this conversation. Thanks so much for letting me be here.
And also, is it a new company or newish company? So what is Page Wheel?
So Page Wheel, in fact, it's super fun because it allows you to make like a digital product, an opt-in, and based on what you make with like templates and AI, then it automatically creates the sales page, automatically creates the delivery page, thank you page, automatically creates the email delivery, and automatically creates all the social media written by AI. And so like within 10 minutes, you could have an opt-in that you've launched, which is really good because I'm super bad at funnel building. So
So you've been playing in the space long enough to know what's needed, and you created something fun.
Yeah, so I'm partnered with Rachel Miller on this because literally at one point about 3 years ago, I'm like, because she was building all these things for a site that we own together, and I was like, Rachel, why is this so hard? And she's like, comes back and says, I think we can solve this for you. And then she's like, I think we should solve it for everyone. And I'm like, I'm on board. Like, just tell me what to do. So yeah, it's been a longer journey than we expected, but I'm really, really excited about the outcome. So we're just getting out of beta right now, and we just launched our version 2.0, which is just amazing.
Well, things always take longer.
Yes, and more money.
Isn't it awesome when you get to share something that you've been working on for like ever with the world?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So yes, please come visit us at Page Wheel because it's super fun too.
Well, we are all about the fun and the social. I repeat that because it is true. Troy, good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good. I get to hang out with you all. I'm great. How about you?
Hey, you got me after the eclipse. Everything was cool. I got to see the whole thing. It was crazy. Social. I think My thing with wild card on social media is now 3D. No pun intended for the eclipse that's happening, but I really think now more things than we consider is more social. So I see it as things that are live, digital, and even physical can now kind of fall under the reins of being social at this point. I think that's where we're going, and that's what's happening right now. Aside from that, I feel like I've done a lot of things. Every year we do something cool, and it's like Troy's doing something else, so I just can't help myself. So I am the co-founder of Season 3 Media. Well, ironically enough, we dabbled in a lot of experiential marketing to help brands be more inclusive. And so outside of it, things being live, digital and physical components with social, how do we make them more equitable? How do we make things more inclusive and anchor in DIBA qualities and emphasis for marketing campaigns and social infrastructure, to really make sure people feel seen and heard, not only in the experience, but hopefully driving more revenue that's more inclusive and equitable ways as well.
Wow. A mouthful. And so, but so important because again, it's those themes of we're all in this together, kumbaya. And I should also mention we are recording this as Goal Chat Live on April 8th. It is Eclipse Day, which if you've whether or not you actually watch the news or like turn it on for a second or look up in the sky, they've been very excited about Eclipse Day. We are still here and celebrating that. You may be listening to this as a Gold Tap podcast on the Marketing Podcast, which is new episodes released on Thursday. But the thing that I've been noticing with the eclipse is it's like everybody's taking a moment to pause, which we never do. Just kind of nice.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Okay, with absolutely no transition from that, Making Tsang, good to see you.
Nice segue, sort of. Hello, Deb. How are you?
Terrific. How are you, Making?
I'm very well. All the better for seeing you and Holly and Troy. It's lovely to share the stage with you all.
Who are you? I mean, I know.
Who? Who am I indeed? Well, my name is Making Tsang. My first name is Making, and I call myself the FOMO creator. FOMO means a fear of missing out, and in business, it's a good thing. So, if you want to know how to sell out your next event, your next festival, conference, your digital event, your webinar, your book, your product, your service launch, then you have come to the right place. I am all about the FOMO, embracing social media to help you to do just that.
And as I said before, the perfect panel for this conversation because, first of all, I think we've all been on social since when it was social, right? 15, 20-ish years or so, right? But I think, and Troy was saying this as well, it's supposed to be social. It's not, and there's so much so many people have that love-hate relationship with social media, but let's look at the love. You know, how do we make social media more social? And I think I'm going out of alpha order because I really want to start with you on this, Troy. What do you think?
I've been working on a new thing called Conscious Growth Pathways, and it's been tackling four elements: experience, education, entertainment, and empowerment. And I think now with social being not only the bridge to just connect the dots, but you're connecting minds, you're connecting energy and vision. And I mean, you literally messaged me through social media and it was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Okay, bet. Let's do this thing. Cool. Here's other amazing humans on this thing. Let's all chat. I'm going to chat and do this thing. Cool. It's like, wow, that's very powerful. And I think sometimes people forget how powerful that is. But why did I say yes? Through our relationship and our bond through other brands that we know, oh, if you rock with that brand by osmosis, by proxy, I'll rock with you. Oh, I haven't met Holly, but because you, Deborah, I'm like, you know what? You're my person now. We people, we here. And that's just by connecting the dots. I've been a fanboy for the longest time. And so every time I get to see her, this is really cool. But what is that being through experience? That's also, but it doesn't stop there. I think the entertainment and educational component and the empowerment component are all critical to actually make social be what it needs to be now. And I think more social doesn't mean post more. More social literally means have valuable conversations that people want to talk about. Not sell me to death, not spam me in the DMs on LinkedIn to death. Lord knows we need something different on that. But just genuinely having conversations, because you never know if people had a bad day and we get on live and now I get to just bond with people and vibe, or people are watching us or listening later and they're like, these sound like really amazing humans. Let me see what's happening. Let's see what's going on. That's what really social is all about. And it's funny. We've been saying this for almost 15, 20 years. Be social on social media. Be social on social media. And yet we deal with this every year. So hopefully this time people take the hint and reset and really lean in on what it means to be now moving forward.
So they're going to learn right now what they haven't learned in the last 15 years.
Maybe
love
the
this.
eclipse is going to reset everybody. I don't know. Hopefully.
Okay, so what do you think, Holly?
Well, I totally agree. And I mean, like, duh. And the thing is like, we all know this because we live our lives like connecting to people. And then we come to social media and we're like, these glossy robots of ourselves. And I'm like, stop. I'm like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So like, okay. Like, let's say we all, like, this weekend, we're hanging out with, like, your best buds from high school. And you're, like, you rent an Airbnb, and we're going to keep this PG-13. So, but there may be some drinks involved. There may be some other things. So, like, you're just, like, sitting around giggling. And what are you giggling about? Are you giggling about how you had the best prom dress ever? No, you're giggling about like the embarrassing thing that happened here, or the day that you did this, or like, you remember when so-and-so did what? And then you're all laughing because it's a shared experience. You had things together that were like, you had these inside like jokes and funny things that happen and things that, you share in common, but none of them are like the magazine version of yourselves. I promise. Like, that's not even coming up. And in fact, you might even be mocking some people who are posting on Facebook about how beautiful their life is, or have this Instagram worthy like existence. Stop it if that's what you're doing on social media, unless you're a Kardashian, because you totally can monetize it if you're a Kardashian. But we're not. Like, I'm not, at least.
Unfortunately,
so, like, you have to embrace like what you actually are. Like, stop. And because the thing is because people, they do not connect with the glossy version of you. They connect with the real version of you. And I will leave this one thought to you. In the beginning of time, when blogs began, Martha Stewart was like on a pedestal. And I was super scared to ever meet her until she went to jail. And then I'm like, bring it on, Martha. We have things in common, even though I've never been to jail. But suddenly she became someone you wanted to talk to. Just saying that.
Okay, this is completely random, but I have to share it. Shortly after I moved to LA, I was at an event, and I can't even remember the event, but the two people worked for Martha Stewart. And I remember asking them, oh, is she really cool in real life? And they were all like,
See?
That's when I realized that, and this is an example of, I guess, social media in real life before social media was in real life. But yeah, that's
so
hilarious.
Don't be Martha Stewart before going to jail. Be Martha Stewart after going to jail.
I just want that to be explored as his own TED Talk moment with that. Like,
oh my God, that is my TED Talk.
I mean, you get millions of views off that headline alone. Add Snoop Dogg in there and it's a wrap. It's over.
Exactly. See, now I just want to like go be with her.
And again, no transition to you making.
No, I mean, Holly and Troy raised some great things there about, being social is about showing, the real you. Yeah, post jail Martha Stewart is definitely a lot more fun than pre Martha Stewart. And when it comes to, when it comes to showing a bit of yourself, it is important to show the upsides of you, but also the downsides of you as well. I mean, I don't bang on about, when things fail in my business, but it does show that when things don't go exactly right, and I do talk about that, it connects people, because it is that shared experience. And so, as Troy said, sometimes I've said something to somebody and it's made an impact on that person that day, and it's powerful. And so the next time you read a blog from Holly, or the next time you read something from Troy, then connect with them and tell them that it was amazing. Or if you listened to Deborah's podcast and you thought that was fantastic, connect with them and say, hey, that last podcast was amazing, and tell them. And when you have that shared connection, have that shared experience, that's when the conversation starts. And a lot of business is done outside of the socials, but only because you were social in the first place. And it's funny that Holly is was laughing about how we've been banging on social media for years, and yet people still don't understand about the value of being social. And it's because everyone's just so desperate to make a difference. They're so desperate to, make that, do that next, get that next client in, pay the bills and all the rest of it. But we forget that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the lead up to that. So people need to get to know who we are as people. They need to get to know who we are in our values, in our vision, in our mission. And if they share that, then, if they agree with us on those points, then they'll come and talk to us. But, selling to people is not going to work because we don't like being sold to. So, we've talked a little bit about the eclipse today. And where I live, we weren't privy to that, but I still nevertheless had a look on Twitter, had a look on the news to see everyone in the States enjoying that experience, because it's it's incredible. And getting involved in that conversation is that's where we can really connect, because as social creatures, we want to find that connection with each other before we get to the point of hey, what is it that you do, or I know someone who I can recommend you to, and that kind of thing. So we need to remember that bit. To be social is to have a conversation with people. Don't post more, like Troy said, but engage more. Share more things that people might be engage with. So every Friday I go to my parents, and my parents cook an amazing meal, and I put that up on Facebook and on Instagram regularly. And when I don't post, people will ask me, are you okay? Did you get to your parents this week? What did mum and dad cook this week? And that's great. It's nice that people really enjoy those posts, and then we can talk about the business thing later on, when the time is right for them.
So you make them FOMO about your
Yes.
food, and that's
Yes.
just like it's like a gateway to conversation.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, as a reformed non-cook, I also host the Taste Bud with the podcast, and it is amazing. You can be like, it feels like you have nothing to talk to someone about, and then you just mention food or a meal or whatever, and it's like an hour later, and all you've done was talk about food. So we all have that thing, whether it's food or something else, that we can really dive into, that maybe has nothing to do with our business. It's just something we find total joy around. So what is that? So Holly, when you and I met, you were like the mom blogger.
And then my kids grew up and I had to figure out what to do with my life. I know, like a total crisis in the middle of I had my midlife crisis when my kids were like in grade school.
So what is that thing now that you loved hawking about that people can't get you to stop?
Well, so first of all, let's just be clear. Like, one of the things that I'm really good at is failure, which can be totally leveraged on the internet. Because who doesn't love a hot mess? I mean, it makes you feel really good about yourself if you can hang out with Holly for a while. If Holly can do it, you can do it. So basically, I started with I started writing a blog before I even had ever known what a blog was. So like, let's just be really clear. My journey has been entirely clueless. So along the way, I just get myself in these situations. And then I'm like, well, that sounds fun. Let's try it out, which a lot of times ends up on a stage or on a live video or something like that. So like that in itself, just the willingness to step forward and fail in front of an audience will give you stories for years to come. So like if you don't get success out of it, you're gonna get a good story. So I learned this from day one. And that's why like these transitions have been like, I just go in a direction that sounds fun. Because like there is money to be made, but there's also a life worth living out there that you can experience. And luckily, the internet has provided both for me. I make my living on the internet, and I also have had a lot of opportunities I would have never had if I stayed in that 9 to 5 job that I had before all this started. So, but I do think I have like a super passion about this content that people put out there for their business. Because like for some reason, like I am Holly Homer, but when I'm talking about my business, I have to be like Holly Homer in a business suit. Which, okay, don't even have one in my closet. So stop. Like just stop doing that, because that's like not you, and that's not your business, by the way. Like, did you go down to the bank and sit like in the like lobby? I don't know. Like, this is not you. Like, stop doing that. Like, whatever you have in your mind, like as like business, like that should be just shattered, because your business is you. So if you are talking on the internet about anything that interests you, that is business content, okay? Because quite honestly, let me just break this down for you. Like we're overcomplicating everything. Like literally, if they know you, they like you, they trust you, and they know what you're selling and they need it, this is so obvious who they're gonna buy from. Like, duh. So all you really need is like the like, no, trust factor, and then occasionally let them know what you sell. And the rest just happens organically. There's no hard sells necessary, because like literally, if they like, know, and trust you, who else are they going to buy from? They're going to buy from you. So like, stop overthinking all this conversation. Have normal human interactions. Talk about your human life. And when people like say, oh, like, you've hit it when you're like, oh, like, like Holly reminds me of my sister, or Holly reminds me of like my neighbor, or like, I wish I lived next door to Holly. Like, who are they going to buy from? They're going to buy from me. Like, duh. So like when you go to post, like this doesn't have to be like rocket science. It just has to be like what's interesting to you today that might be interesting to someone else. And oh, by the way, at some point you might need to mention to them what you sell.
So if you are answering my question, which you are kind of, what is the thing that you love going on and on about? Is it content?
Yeah.
Or is it just life?
So, I mean, I've been a blogger so long that there's really a very fine line between content and life. So, although I will say, as I've gotten deeper into this, like I do have a much larger private life than I used to. Like I used to put everything out on the internet. You get to decide, by the way, how much you share. So be very careful with that, and very comfortable with you get to draw that line. There's like literally, there's no like line police out there. Like, oh, Holly, you didn't share enough tonight. Yes, no, like you get to decide that. So like you say what you want to say, and but to a certain extent, like when I'm really mad at like the cruise ship that didn't treat us well, that's content. Like, so beware.
I'm stuck on there is no line police, by the way. Hilarious. What about you, Troy? Because as we've also mentioned, like me, you are 5 or 7 or 12 different people.
I feel I'm finding my stride. And I think to Holly's point, I agree. You find your stride daily. You change constantly. And that is okay. What people used to know me as is a social media manager, I am no longer that anymore. Do I still rock with social? Do I do still social in my daily life? Yes, but I've transitioned and expanded and evolved. So I have not one that ever, you know this, everybody know this, like I have two podcasts now. I digress. Obviously, we're syndicated now, 100 episodes, chasing 1 million downloads, getting there close to it. But just launched another podcast on filter growth. I think it's launching at the time of recording next week. So that'd be a cool co-host experience, interviews, and all that jazz. And I think I've learned, I used to get stuck on the content itself versus like just how Holly was saying, like take who you are and make it work on the different platforms that make sense to you. And for me, I always say audience dictates direction. And so, yes, I was a pandemic podcaster. I'm still doing it, y'all. For all y'all thought I was going to be done, got a Webby nomination and everything. I'm still doing it. But I've learned through those mechanisms of putting it out there and trying and failing fast. Oh, this lands. I'm going to keep it going. Oh, this doesn't land. They're going to forget next Tuesday. It won't matter no more, right? We're just going to replace with something else that we're doing. And I think if we see content and social media as a channel, it will make sense. But what I love to do as my moniker strategy hacker, which is registered, by the way, is I love strategy. My brain is wired to like, you have a problem, you at A and we're trying to get to B, maybe trying to get to C around the way. I'm connecting dots. I'm making connections. I'm trying to tie in different people and different things. And that's what I love to do. Now, with life and demand and the ecosystem and the marketplace, I've changed. I'm a former electrical engineer that went to digital media, that went to social media, that went to growth strategy, that went to advisory for startups, that worked with, major networks for entertainment. So, I mean, when you learn your skill, you can transfer and sway to whatever you need to do. And I think that's the thing. Anytime something changes in our life, oh my goodness, my identity is gone because Vine isn't relevant no more. And I've had so many followers on there now. Oh my goodness, Twitter/X is everyone's leaving, and that's where my biggest following is now. What am I going to do? I'm like, that's not your identity, though. What got you that on that platform, you modify and learn, is still you can be on another platform. And so when we separate the platforms from us and align with what we're trying to do, it's going to be a lot easier to sell than trying to put on a facade. But and the last thing on this close, I echo in a lot of ways where people will say, well, Troy, you sound like you tap into a different person. Yeah, when I'm on, I'm on. I don't know, I'm all energy, I'm all about this, I'm on ideas, I'm just going. But that's still relevant to me. It is not a lie. It's an amplification of who Troy wants to present himself as a being. So if you got to snap your fingers and you a different person, for me, hoodies are like my superhero cape. I put that hoodie on. I'm like, I'm ready to spit some fire on this mic and let's go. Whatever you need to do. Some people got lucky socks. Some people got a certain makeup color they got going on. Whatever they need to do to show your most authentic self, do it. And I promise you, everything else will fall, in line.
Oh, I love everything you said. And the D in the DEB method stands for determine your mission. So especially, when you know who you are, that does not change, even though the business changes. Who you are, what you want might change, but no. What you want, how you present yourself to the world, your fun projects that might change, but who you are, the essence of you, that is the core. And apparently you should just be yourself and let your core shine through, because that is the secret where there is no secret. And so, May King, is food the thing you talk about other than, FOMOing, or is there something else that you really get excited about talking about?
I do talk about food a lot, and now and again I delve into politics, because I think that we can't live life without being involved in politics in one way or another. But I don't get involved in it too much. But now and again I do. But I got caught up in April Fool's Day. I got caught up in a prank. And was I upset about it? No, I thought it was hilarious, and I got involved with that. And just cracked a joke and said, "Yeah, I didn't know that gullible was taken out of the dictionary either." So I love Holly when she talks about being a hot mess, because it's again, it just shows that we are human, and if there was a perfect blueprint to create that perfect business, you do these steps, and then you'd be a gazillionaire, we'd all be doing it, right? But that's not true. So to be honest and open and be that hot mess, and show that that we do make mistakes and fall over from time to time, people really, and really embrace us, when we do that. I have a hashtag, I call it making mistakes, because my first name is making mistakes. But when I nail it, it's making it happen. And again, to go back to Holly's point, that we don't have to show ourselves on social all the time. You can see the poster to the left of me, The Truman Show. I'm not very good at pointing. There we go. There next to my mic, The Truman Show. Any of us who are old enough to remember, fabulous show. And Jim Carrey's character, Truman, was being filmed 24/7. And as viewers, we were hooked. But then as soon as he decided not, to escape, then people went on their merry way and watched something else. So, we have the power, unlike Truman, to record and put ourselves out there as we want to, but not the roboticized version of ourselves, our true honest selves, but we can decide what to put out there and what we don't put out there. But in showing that we're more human, people can, really relate to us with that. So, that's something that I often talk about. FOMO is really about bridging the gap between PR and social media. And so by embracing social media, whichever platform that you're on, like Troy said, whichever platform we've built a community on doesn't define us, because there'll be a new one that comes out, and we just use the same methods that we use to build communities on the previous platform on the new one, whatever that might be. Threads is starting to be a thing at the moment, trying its best to replace Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. So doing the same things or similar things that you did on that platform into Threads, in order to grow the numbers and grow the engagement and build your communities there. It's exactly the same, but then there'll be another platform that we can do that with as well. So so food, injustices. I got trolled on International Women's Day. I thought it was hilarious, so I thought I'd show all those bits and pieces up there. The fabulous misogynistic keyboard warrior tweets and posts that I got, just because I was celebrated for giving advice to female entrepreneurs. Some guys decided that I need to be taken down a peg or two, which is absolutely fine. So injustices, politics, food is what I like to talk about, as well as FOMO, of course.
So I've got a two-part question. The first is, what you have to tell us what happened on April Fool's Day. What is the gag that sucked you in? Don't think just because you said a lot of words after you mentioned it that I forgot.
Well, actually, both my partner and I, we both fell for it. We were listening to a podcast that we listened to, which is called the Failing Writers Podcast, and so one of the broadcasters, he was interviewing a fictional author. So they pretended that it was an author that he really admired. But then this author was being anti-woke and being racist, not publicly racist, but implying that. And so and the amount of disrespect that this author had bestowed upon upon these podcasters, I was just absolutely shocked. But it was a complete April Fool, and in fact, the author's name was the word April Fool, but mixed up. I can't remember the author's name, but I didn't see it at the time. Lots of people saw it, but I fell for it hook, like, and sinker.
And you have to wonder how long they've been planning a gag like that. If they go down to, using the letters of the name as the author's name, hilarious. Okay, so the second part, and this is for everybody. Yes, you want to be vulnerable. Yes, you want to be amped up versions of yourself. But what is that line between hot mess and complainy? I guess. Where do you decide what is where? I know, no line or whatever you said before, which I loved, but there's like a little one, right?
Well, I would say you're going to choose that line, and it's probably going to be your personal preference. And by the way, where you draw that line is like where the people that follow you, their tolerance is. Like, I do not whine on the internet. I really don't, because like, I mean, like I whine to my husband because like he's like in a life sentence with me, but like, but like y'all that are just like casually acquainted with me on the internet, like, I mean, I save it for him. And I think that's kind of like where, like, I want to save like the adventure and the silly things and the like silver linings for like the internet. And basically, I love posting online because it really does, in a lot of situations, allow you to step back with perspective and find the funny, or find the silver lining, or find the lesson, or find the cleverness in what is just dumb everyday stuff sometimes. And so that's what you post. Like, I don't know, unless you want to be a whiner, or I love the, I mean, and that you do you. I'm not going to judge you for it. Probably not going to follow you. But that's kind of thing, is like, this is what this whole situation is about, is people are self-selecting for your adventure. So like, make it true, because like I am so like full in the head of not being able to keep track of what I said if it wasn't like true. So like, I really have to like keep along with my authenticity, just as a coping mechanism for life. Because like, if you're like trying to be this and trying to be that, you're going to have to continue trying to be those things. And I think that's where like, just be you and have fun with it. So like, if it's fun, I'm going to do it. Like, which has gotten me into some really ridiculous things. So like our first like Facebook live show was called Craft with Crap. And it was me and a good friend. It was like 20 minutes. It was head to head. We were given 4 crappy items and we had to craft them into something. And then we would like show that to the audience, which they could vote for in emoji form only. And then we would declare a winner and then do it all over again. And the thing is it was like no redeeming value other than the fact it was just silly and fun. And guess what? A whole bunch of people watched it, and because it was silly and fun. And so the crazy thing about it is the next year we started selling clothing online. And so we had this Craft with Crap show. So we were like, at the end, we're like, hey, we're going to be selling clothes next if you want to just stay on. Or, obviously we'll stop and start it, because back then that's how you had to do it. But join us. And by the way, this clothing company that we sold, and by the way, in the first, it was 4 days and we had made back our initial investment, because people were like, hey, we know Holly and Jamie. We like Holly and Jamie. We'll buy things from Holly and Jamie. And so we sold, we did really well. And then this was had a business opportunity to it that was $6,000 to $8,000 buy-in. And the thing is those people that watched Craft with Crap were the people that ended up buying in on the business thing. So if I had gone back to reverse engineer, I have a business opportunity that costs between $6,000 and $8,000. Do you think I would have actually gone out and started my content creation with Craft with Crap? No, I would think there's no direction between the two. But the truth is, no trust factor and fit trump all. And so we became, in that multi-level marketing company, we had the largest front line in the company's history because of silly things like Craft with Crap. And when we sold on Facebook Live like that, where it was just silliness all the time, and it didn't take it too seriously. And guess what? People like that, because you know what? They're sitting at home and they're tired And if they wanted something like a perfect entertainment situation, they would go to Netflix. They're not watching me. But if they want something that they're like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that, they're going to watch me. And so that's, like that's the thing, is you have to really understand why people are on social. It's to be social. I'll just give you like the,
Yeah, we
notes
yes,
on that.
social,
Yeah.
social
To be
fun,
social.
right?
So, I mean, just leverage that. Like, just have fun with it. Like, what can you do that like embraces that and run with it, and or test it out. Maybe it'll fail and you'll do something else next time.
Awesome. Troy, you look really serious. This is hilarious. I mean, if you are listening to this podcast, Troy, who is, I mean, everybody on this panel is bubbly, but you were listening with such intent. It was awesome. I needed to call you out on that. Same question. How do you, I know there is no line police, but you're in charge of your line. What is your recommendation for that? How much is too much in one direction or the other? Or answer any version of the 5 questions I just asked you at once.
I think, obviously I lean on audience dictates direction, but I also think you have to tie it into your impact anchor. Like, anyone can say anything. We all know this. And people can say you're complaining. People can say this about it. And it's their own perspective bubble. That may not even be the reality of what you're actually intent of doing. I'm spotlighting this. I'm anchoring this. I'm sharing this. I'm fighting for this. Oh, you're complaining. Oh, you're this, you're that. And I think the dance we play in social as to why people many times may struggle with social media is the negative side of social that May King echoed a little bit earlier, of just anyone can say anything back to you. They can say anything. And I won't speak for everyone, but I can speak from experience. Words can hurt. Messages can hurt. Have you ever gone live and a comment hits you sideways? You post a blog and things can hurt, y'all. This is not for the faint of heart if you're choosing this life and going down this path to a certain extreme or extent. But that shouldn't deter you, because I always like to think there's more people of good who are so happy you shared what you shared than the noisy negative Nancy's out there in the world, who may try to taunt your flame. I think back to May 25th, 2020. For those who don't know, that's when George Floyd happened. And that was a pivotal point in my literal social media career. Because until that point, Troy Sandidge, as everyone knew it, was all about social and marketing and business. I never mixed my personal life too much. Yes, I'm Black, but I didn't talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, belongingness, and then accessibility. I didn't talk about how do you empower minority and underrepresented communities through marketing and business for empowerment. I didn't talk about none of that stuff. But that trigger moment for me was like, okay, how do we navigate this? How do we do this? And so I think the level of vulnerability that you choose, it's not just about your life. It's one thing to say, yeah, I went to the store, I got some eggs, I made the best omelet of my life today. I saw an eclipse and now I'm here. Like, okay, but we can go deeper on how we felt. Today, I could have maybe not felt the best today. Or you know what? I'm having the best day of my life. Let me tell you why. Like, there's levels to this thing. And I think we have to find the confidence and sometimes even the courage to share something real. And that may stop our regular scheduled programming of social content for the day. And sometimes people weaponize it to stop the scroll. I'm not a Kardashian, so I'm sure if they complain, they're going to make money off of it. I don't have the luxury of doing that yet. But I think when we can get comfortable with sharing the layers, to Holly's point, and it may echo it earlier too, that allows more layers of connectivity to you. Where I might have been a buyer for you, but because, you're a mom and you understand, that resonates with me, I might refer you to somebody else. Oh, you from the same town I went in? Oh, you know the same person I went in? Oh, you deal with neurodivergent? you navigate that and all those different things, whatever the case might be, all the different scenarios, that just adds layers to why someone may choose to listen and want to do something with you. And that takes time and patience and grace to get to that place of comfortability to share, and then also be open for the conversations back. And that's tough. We're not therapists. We're not licensed to do this stuff. But people want something real both ways. Not just to sell, but to be, hey, where's my tribe? Where are my people? How does this make you feel? How can we help each other? And that is not all about making money. It's about building community that knows when they make a post that doesn't seem like them. Like if Deborah made a post that was like, Deborah, you okay? I'm like, DM, are you all right? Like seriously, as a friend, like I don't know you as deeply, but we have a kindred spirit where I would have enough initiative to check on you and be like, are you okay? And how can I help? That is building layers of relationship and friendship on social in a way where we forget with the powers of our phone, how many people we can tap into to ask for help if we just ask for help. And that's not complaining. That's just being real. So think about that.
For a fun conversation, we're like so deep today. I'm very, very proud of us. Thank you for that. And I'm good. Usually anyway. But I because this is the Deb that is out in the world is yay raw, you can do it. And I am sure if a post that was less optimistic snuck in, I'd be hearing from everybody. But again, it's the choice. It's who you are amplified. This is me, people. Right? Yeah. That's what you get. And you get good people. When you hang out with Deb, you get to hang out with some of the coolest people in the universe. I am blessed to know so many awesome people. May King, how about you? What is, and you gave some great examples. Did you want to add anything else to the you get to decide the line conversation?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Holly and Troy were saying, yeah, because all three of us have been in business for a long time, there's a lot that we can share, and it's not just the the upsides, but it's the downsides as well. So I try not to talk about my downsides too much because the point of social is to be social, but we can inspire with our failings, we can inspire with our mistakes. And so from time to time, when I do disappear from social, my friends will ask me, hey Making, are you busy or are you okay? And so and that's really, really nice. So with the work that I do, it is high energy. It is, you have to be on it, for a certain period of time. And so, where there's been periods where I have burnt out, I have talked about it when I felt comfortable to do so afterwards. And the moments that I have done that, it has, led to lots of conversations in the DMs where people you say, "Oh, Making, thanks for sharing that. Didn't realize you go through that as well." And I think that because we all four of us are are public figures, it is important to lead the way and to showcase and inspire, and also to pick people up if we can see if they need picking up and so on. So yeah, I think it is important to not bang on about it, but from that, like I say, now and again, I think it's okay to show the real sides of what happened and so on. There's still some things that I won't talk about just now because I'm still not comfortable with it, but I expect it in time I will, but for the most part, because we've been in business for such a long time, there will be lots of things in all aspects of our business and our lives that we can actually share and impart on others to help and inspire others, or to encourage people to laugh at us, laugh with us, whatever. But yeah, I try not to talk about it too much, the failings, but I do know that when I do spend a bit of time in writing that post, in order to teach the right thing, to come out of it onto the other side, so that it can spark a conversation and get people talking.
And you never know Who needs to hear what you have to say, which I think is something, a common theme
Absolutely.
through this conversation. Definitely. What I would love now is for each of you to gift a goal to the audience. So, what is something that they could do today, tomorrow, immediately? I guess to be more social on social, but really any goal, dealer's choice. So, Troy, what goal do you?
I'd say the goal I'd give anyone is to look at whatever platform you either want to grow on or is your favorite platform of choice. Find someone you haven't talked to in a very long time, or maybe you don't really know, but maybe you have a very common thread, whether in business or you're talking the same themes, and share their piece of content. But sharing it, not just repost, add some thought as to why you're sharing this content to your audience and tell a story about it and just see what happens. Just see what happens. Typically, I will spoil it for you. Some amazing conversations will happen on the actual post itself and in your DMs, probably with that person. And you are literally tapping into another audience and bringing other communities into your own, and maybe ways you can articulate or can explain or you're more curious about. And that is the most immediate, fastest way to do it. And you'll thank me later because life is too short. You might rekindle a spark or conversation, or they're new. They're like, "Hey, you shared my post and gave an amazing story behind it. I loved it. Let me talk to you. How are you doing? What's going on in your world? Do that for me and just see what happens."
Ooh, I love it. It's almost like a choose your own adventure, but you're choosing someone else's adventure to like tag
Yeah.
along with.
Ooh, I love that.
So that's fun. I like that. May King, what goal would you like to gift?
Well, this probably doesn't apply to your American audience really, because you're all so upbeat and positive, and that's what that's why I love hanging out with Americans. But us Brits, we're not very good at shouting about our achievements. So, as a business owner, Muhammad Ali once said, "It isn't bragging if you can back it up." So, I want to encourage you to be more braggy. Shout about your achievements. But when you share that testimonial, when you share that win, give the backstory. Give the backstory of how you helped that client, how you helped that person, what happened. Because what a lot of people tend to do is to showcase what it is they do and say, "Oh yeah, I've just got a 5-star here or got a 5-star review here." But explain the backstory, because people want to hear about, why that client came to you, what you did for them, what was the result, and that gives your lurkers something really excited to get excited about. And so we want to create content for our lurkers, and so shouting about the testimonials that you've got, but explain the backstory of how you achieve that can really help your lurkers to get to that next level in their journey with you. And you never know, when the right time is right for them, then they will slide into your DMs and think, "Oh, can you do that for me too?" So be proud of what you've achieved and shout about it.
I love that. So in my Facebook group, my Write On Online, which I put the link in the chat, it'll be in the recap as well. I do a different theme every day. So it starts with networking goals and goals and share your own post. But my favorite day is Toot Your Horn Thursday, because you never know what conversations one person's toot. "Oh, I just did this for my business," might be someone else's great. Can you help me? So I love the brag with the backstory. Amazing. Thank you for that. Okay, Holly, goal time. It's goal time.
So I
What you
love
got?
both that came before me, and both of them are also really good for the algorithm. Just FYI. But the cool thing is, and I'm going to say something that kind of sounds antisocial at this moment in this conversation, but grow your email list. Figure out how to get those people that are on your social media channels whatever channels they are, and all of them onto your email list so you can talk to them again. Algorithms are getting so stingy about showing the same thing over and over again to those people. So they may have had a connection with you, but because you didn't get them on your email list, you never see them again. And so I actually use my email list as a social media feed. I send out a daily email, and it is like all the things that are important to me that day. And so while it doesn't feel like social media when you just say, oh, I send out an email, it actually is almost recreation of that feed. Like, oh, here's something for this, and here's something for this, and here's something for this, and here's something for this. And by the way, when I am on a podcast or when I am doing something that's outside of those channels, it's very easy to shift those people's attention to say, hey, if you're interested in this, you might want to go listen. And so it gives you such, like, it's almost the ultimate community because there is an algorithm, but it's a much more kind and gentle algorithm into email.
I love that goal. And it's important. What do they say? You need to build your house on your own land, not on rented or whatever of the we've been saying that for years too, right?
Well, that's because I have like 300,000 followers on a social media network none of you have heard of. So I'm just going to say that.
And what is the social network we've never heard of?
Oh, it's gone. It disappeared. That's the thing. Because like these things are all going to be gone someday. Like I can't even remember the name of it anymore. Like it was like a competitor of early Instagram. And I was like, man, I was so good at it. Totally 300,000 followers. And then it just like, poof, it's gone.
And you do not want poof your followers to be gone. But I saw just over the weekend, somebody posted that someone I knew was having a show. And I'm like, I have not heard from this person in years. I'm glad they're still doing great. We're still friends. And I didn't know about this. I found out about it through a mutual friend. So every now and then it'll be like, okay, I haven't heard from this person. Are we still connected? Because it can be, especially people like us who've got huge communities, we don't see the people we actually know. I mean, we do, but right. Where was I going with this tangent? Oh, Anna, I feel like I want to do like a bonus goal. I rarely do this, but it's something that Troy was talking about, sparked it. If you've got 5 minutes, jot a hi, how are you note on an IM, whether it's LinkedIn or an Instagram DM or Facebook. Just say a hi, how are you to somebody you haven't heard from in a while. I guarantee you they're going to be so excited. It's just a way to not even re-engage your network, but reconnect, because you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So say hi to those people. Bam. Okay, friends. Such a wonderful conversation. Where can people learn more about you? We'll start with you, Holly.
So pagebuild.com is kind of where I'm hanging out these days. And if you're looking to grow your email list, we have a really easy way to do that. You can do it in 10 minutes or less and be launched and handing out things on podcasts and all the things. And so just thinking about like where you want to go and making sure that you have the tools that make it easy, because like I said before, we tend to overthink everything.
We kind of do. Awesome. Love it. Troy, where can people learn more about you?
Well, I'm everywhere at Find Troy. And if you go to growwithtroy.com, you'll see everything else about me. I have 2 podcasts, 2 businesses, trying to fill up my public speaking for the rest of the year. And I'm accepting new advisory clients. So homeboy is working hard, but Grow with Troy will take you wherever you need to go to get whatever you need to get from yours truly.
Love it. And May King, where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, they can go to FOMOcreator.social. I have 2 podcasts as well. One is my FOMO Creator Show, and another one which is the Extra Shot, where we talk about the latest digital marketing news and do a deep dive on it every week.
Fantastic. And I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And you can go to thedebmethod.com/blog to get some of the tips from the conversation, the goals, and also the links that our guests mentioned. And what else was I going to say? Oh, I am live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And as I said before, you can also tune in every Thursday. New episode is launched as Goal Chat on the Marketing Podcast Network. I am all about inspiration and motivation to help you achieve the goals you want because it is so within your power. Okay, friends, final thought. Holly, what do you want to leave people with today?
I just think this is not rocket science. Like, it is one foot in front of the other, and trust your heart. It's telling you where to go. And even though it doesn't make sense one day, just keep one foot in front of the other. Believe me, at some point it will start making sense. So, or not. No, it will, I promise.
Social media is not rocket science, but have fun too, right? Just keep going because you never know where that road's going to lead.
Yeah.
Awesome. And May King, what final thought do you have today?
Hang out with awesome people like Deborah, like Holly, like Troy, and like myself.
You can never hang out with enough awesome people. I love it. And Troy, final thought to you.
Don't forget to grow your social. Use non-traditional ways. There's a thing called outside. Meet them outside of the social bubble. Have conversations, get drinks, get food, go see a movie, go see a concert, go see a play, whatever they're doing, and build that relationship equity outside of social. So when you back on social, y'all got photos and things to talk about. And maybe other things will happen beyond that too.
Oh, I love that so much because that is it. It is the point, right? Because not only can you not reach your goals on your own, you need your people. You need to have experiences because that's what they're there for. Okay, I'm done being profound. Thank you guys so much, Holly Homer, Troy Sandidge, May King Tsang, for tuning in today. Thank you for whether you're watching us live as Goal Chat Live or listening to the Goal Chat podcast. We are glad you're here choosing your goals. So go out there, go for it because we know you can do it.